What's up, y'all? Marjek79 here. We are here today to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. I saw the movie a couple of days ago. Wanted to give it a little bit of time. I really wasn't interested in doing like a spoiler-free movie. I just want to talk about the movie itself. So to go ahead and start off, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review. I am not holding back spoilers on this video, man. So if you want to click off the video, go ahead and do that now. If you haven't seen the movie, I still appreciate you for clicking on the video though. So what you can do is go see the movie, then come on right back and let's talk about it. So, how did y'all feel about that opening? Yeah, buddy. You didn't know the boy had skills like that. You didn't know the boy had just a little bit of, I can hold a note, a little bit. But yeah, man, that opening scene was awesome, man. I really liked the comedic, kind of sad element to that. Talking about all the Avengers that did not make it through Infinity War. Very nice. Very, very nice, man. Yeah, man, I loved this movie. I really did. I tell you what, probably my favorite Marvel couple in general has always been the Spider-Man Mary Jane couple. You know, that whole dynamic, even through like the animated show, from the comic book, from the original movies trilogy. That was always one of my favorite aspects of the Spider-Man story, was his relationship with Mary Jane. And this movie was that was the main focus of this film, and it did not disappoint. Zendaya and Tom Holland's relationship as Peter and MJ definitely was one of the highlights of the movie for me. And I'm definitely very excited to see where that relationship goes in the future of the MCU. Just that whole high school awkwardness, and just them, going through everything that they went through, like just, all those random things that kept happening that kept them from like getting some time to actually talk about their feelings about one another. I love all that stuff, man. Like I'm a hopeless romantic myself. I did marry my high school sweetheart. Y'all should know that about me by now at this point. So yeah, man. So all that stuff, all that sappy kid love stuff with Peter and MJ, I was in love with that. I'm sure a lot of people, like a lot of the kids in the younger generation, I'm like, God, I wish y'all would focus more on the action and stuff and stop talking about the Peter and the MJ story. Like, nah, man, that's a huge part of Spider-Man, dude. It just is, And that was also another reason why he'll probably always be my favorite superhero too, because it's just, I've always loved that story arc in his character. So this movie did not disappoint. It was actually one of the highlights of the movie, I would say. Definitely that final scene too, when he was swinging with her, and just that whole nine. Even though very weird that nobody has questioned her yet. So why are you swinging with Spider-Man like that? What's that about? So let's also get into, before we even get into that, let me go ahead and tackle the biggest spoilers of the movie too. So the first after credits scene, J. Jonah freaking Jameson. Yes, I tell you what, man, when he came on screen, he was like, Spider-Man! My whole theater just erupted in a thunderous applause. Though I was so happy to see that, so happy to just to see him make his return into that character. Man, he was probably one of my favorite aspects of all from the original trilogy. So I was really, really happy to see him come back. That was awesome, man. And then the reveal, like Mysterio's last little stab of Spider-Man, revealing his secret identity to the world. Holy crap, that's crazy too, man. That's crazy. I don't know who. I mean, it's definitely takes us back to the comic book Civil War. If you've read it, you know what happens. Pretty much all of his enemies go after Aunt May. So man, I'm definitely curious to see where that takes us into the next. Like, I wonder if they're going to address it in like the next Avengers movie, or if they're going to try to wait to Spider-Man 3 to address it. I would assume that's something that they're going to have to address in Spider-Man 3, because that's directly to his character. It's not like really like a global problem, but definitely a huge problem for Spider-Man though. So that's going to have to get addressed in him Very curious to see where that story takes. So let's talk about Mysterio as a villain, because on all my movie reviews, especially comic book superhero movies, I always say that the movie is as good as how the defined the villain is. And Jake Gyllenhaal does not disappoint as Mysterio, man. I was really happy about his portrayal of Mysterio. I think they did a really good job of making his character likable at the beginning. But I do have to be honest, though. If you know the comic book, he's gonna eventually make that turn. Especially if you know the character too. I think definitely by the middle of the water monster fight, I was like, yeah, this seems like just a lot of his line dialogue was really cheesy. Like, I wonder if it was on purpose cheesy to get the audience to be like, he's making a lot of weird one-liners. Kind of like, that line that, Ant-Man said to Captain America, "Here's your shield, Captain America." Yeah, it was like a whole lot of that going on, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm just waiting for that turnaround, that switch, and it definitely did not disappoint. Having Peter like go into that bar and now that be like made up and holographs and stuff, that was really, really cool. Speaking of holographs, I think that scene when Spider-Man was fighting him that first time, where he had those holograms going on, where he had Iron Man crawl up out of the grave and he had the skeleton inside of the mask or whatever, that was really cool. I really like that scene. That was like super CGI heavy though, but I really like that scene. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie as well. So, and then, finally getting the reveal to MJ that Peter is Spider-Man as well. I like that scene too. If I'm comparing it to the reveal that he's Spider-Man to Mary Jane in the original Spider-Man 2, I think I still kind of like that a little bit better. I think that reveal is still my favorite, but I really liked that she kind of deduced it a little bit too to figure out who he was all along. And then I remember seeing some news stories or whatever that Captain America at the beginning was going to kind of make a cameo a little bit. I'm glad they decided not to do that. The story definitely needed to focus on Spider-Man being the hero and deciding what he wanted for his course of life. So I think that was a good choice. But yeah, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it is what it is. I'm just talking and y'all just listening. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it, man. But yeah, back to Mysterio, man. I really enjoyed like the turn and the reveal of like all the people that Tony had fired from Stark Industries, like coming and banding together again to try to ruin his legacy or bring out that hologram technology that he had thought that was probably unstable and whatnot, obviously. So that was a really cool story aspect of a way to bring Mysterio into the MCU. I think it's really cool too that both of the Spider-Man villains thus far have been Tony Stark haters per se, because the Vulture really didn't like Tony Stark, and obviously Mysterio didn't really like him either. So very curious to see if they're going to do that for a third villain for Spider-Man 2, like incorporate Tony Stark's character arc into the villain that spills into Spider-Man as well. I think that would be a really cool idea to do that, just saying. But yeah, man, I think if I had any like real nitpicks of the film, definitely the Ned and Betty relationship arc. The Asian guy that kept getting in the way, that told Peter that he liked MJ too and he was fighting her for him. Plot devicey a little bit. I get it. You gotta give Peter at least a little bit of headway challenge to get to MJ. It's a good. You gotta do that for the plot of the movie. But I think it doesn't really make any sense though if MJ automatically really doesn't like him at all to start out with, especially since it was already established by the end of Homecoming that she clearly liked him. So, kind of pointless in my opinion, but I get it though. Yeah. But definitely all of the action scenes in the movie were great. I mean, Spider-Man swinging, beating people up, action, that's always brilliant. That's probably one of my favorite comic books. Seeing Spider-Man in action on the big screen has always been one of my greatest movie going pleasures, and that's in all the Spider-Mans too. Even the not so good ones, even in Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, you gotta love the fight scenes, man. Those, I mean, it's tough. The stuff that they've developed in the fight choreography for these movies is just brilliant, man. So that is always top notch. Now, if I had to rank Spider-Man Far From Home with my all-time favorite Spider-Man films, I think Spider-Man 2 is still my all-time favorite film. It's going to be really tough to top the Doc Ock story arc with the train fight and all that. Just him just going from just completely nothing to still somehow being able to get it together and come out on top in that movie. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Far From Home are tied for second now at this point. Yeah, man, I really like this Spider-Man film. This is easily the best portrayal of the Tom Holland Spider-Man that we've seen thus far. I mean, that's better than all the Avenger films. That's better than the Spider-Man Homecoming. This is definitely my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man film for sure, by far, honestly. I definitely put it as a tie for second with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you see my review on that, then y'all know that I absolutely adore that film as well. The original Spider-Man 1 is probably third. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 probably fourth. Then Spider-Man 3. Probably last still, and then I would put The Amazing Spider-Man 2 like second to last, because I just really didn't like those movies too much, man. I just didn't. And I know that's universal among the Marvel fan base. I hate to be like that too, because I really do like to differentiate myself from the mass media audience, but I can't help it, man. I hate it, I hated those movies, man. It's just, it is what it is. So yeah, man. Now, if I had to give Spider-Man Far From Home an overall score, we would definitely go a 9 out of 10. It's definitely a movie that I can see myself watching again and again, especially the different fight scenes and the romance arc between Peter and MJ. Brilliant. Loved it, man. Loved it. Very excited to see where that story arc goes, especially with his secret identity being revealed to the world. Oh, and then the other after credit scene with the reveal that Nick Fury and Agent Hill were never even in the movie in the first place. That the Skrulls from I can't think of their names, but the Skrull, I think his name was Valdos from Captain Marvel, and his wife were playing them the whole time. I thought that was pretty cool. I would assume that's gonna lead somewhere into Captain Marvel 2, the Skrull Wars. But I'm very curious to kind of see where that goes too, because they've established them as good guys in this film. So unless it's another group of Skrulls that are still bad, or that were bad to begin, I don't really know how that's going to work. But I'm curious to see, though. Very excited. I think that key scene right there is a big premonition of what's coming towards the MCU next. It's gotta be, man. Yeah, and with that, we'll go ahead and end this review, man. So I appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. As always, you know what to do. Hit this like button for me. If we reach 100 likes, I will do a Spider-Man giveaway. It could be a comic book, it could be a movie, it could be a figure, it could be anything. The only thing you have to do is like the video, maybe leave me a comment to show that you watched the video, and be subscribed to youtube.com/MarkJake79. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. As always, appreciate everybody for watching, and until then, I will see you guys on the next one. I'll catch you guys later.